Hello everyone, welcome back to another Technique Tuesday. So this week I'm going to take you through 3 exercises that I use to help with ankle flexion. So ankle flexion is obviously your ability to basically flex your ankles. So say for example, if you are doing a movement like a front squat or an overhead squat, your knee is going to need to come out towards your toes, and in order to keep that upright torso that's required, you need to make sure that you've got decent ankle flexion, because if you don't, it's going to put a lot of pressure on your knees, your hips, your lower back, your shoulders. Now for something like an overhead squat, there may be some other issues that you need to be addressed. So you may need to go back and look at some of the thoracic stretches or thoracic mobility work that we did. But today we're going to talk about just addressing that ankle flexion, which for a lot of people is something that they probably need to invest a little bit more time in. And another reason for that, not only from a movement point of view, but if you have pretty dodgy ankles and you don't have ankle flexion, that can start to work its way up the chain by causing, knee issues, lower back issues, hip problems, things like that. A lot of those issues can come from lower, like extremity problems, so things like ankles. So you will need some equipment for these movements. You're going to need a band. I've got a kettlebell here. You don't need the kettlebell, but you do need at least a minimum of a band. So very first stretch we're going to do, and when you do these stretches, you'll want to do them without shoes. Just because you are using the band and the way the band's going to be around your foot, it's probably not going to sit where it needs to for if you have shoes on. So first one we're going to do, we're just going to feed our foot through the band, and we're going to basically thread the band on either side, so making an X on the top of my foot. From there, I'm going to extend my leg. I'm going to take my foot I'm going to let my foot kind of relax there, and I'm going to take that slack up on the band. And then from there, I'm going to try and push my foot into dorsiflexion. So I'm basically just moving from my ankle. You'll notice that the first rep I did, I kind of pulled with my knee. I want to avoid that. I want to have my knee locked out and let that band pull away from your ankle, so from away from your hips. So we're going from there, pulling back into that plantar flexion. Okay, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, moving back and forth between the two. Nice and controlled. You'll hit 10 to 15 reps on each side, and then from there, you can leave that band around your ankle, but we're just going to turn, and we're going to come the other way. So when we do it, if you just move around to the front, we're going to come up into a lunge position. Again, having that band around my ankle. I want to keep my heel on the ground. And you can do this without a kettlebell. The way you would do it is just keeping your heel on the ground, pushing that knee down. I do find it easier if you grab a weight and we just place that weight on top of the knee and get that as far forward as you can. So trying to maintain that arch in my foot while I do it, digging my big toe into the ground and then just driving that knee forward, making sure that heel's on the ground as I said before. We're going to hold for about 30 seconds, and then from there, I'll drop that kettlebell. I'm going to stand up, leaving my foot where it is, and then I just want to put my heel up off the ground a couple of centimeters, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and take this knee towards this heel here. So that's just going to turn into just little pulses, dropping that knee towards that heel. I'm going to do 10 to 15 reps there, and then I can go ahead and change sides. So they're the 3 movements. And what I would do is I would do like 3 to 5 rounds of that. You can do it just as itself. If you know that your ankle flexion is not great, then it is something you can add into your routine as just a mobility exercise. Where you'll find the most bang for your buck with this stuff is if you are doing something, say like a front squat or an overhead squat, where you're going to be weighting the movement, you're going to be working that bottom position and that extra ankle flexion that you've gained. Doing that beforehand as part of your warm-up will help increase and kind of strengthen and lengthen everything around your ankle. So they are 3 ankle mobility movements that you can add into your workout or mobility routine to try and increase that ankle flexion. Thanks guys. If you have any questions, let us know. We'll see you next week.